Evening all, welcome back to Death Alley Part 2. This is going to be an even more uncomfortable viewing for those of you who don't like gang destruction, killing, etc. Now, it's not our fault. I mean, I have to be clear on this. They are willing combatants as well. The group that we're fighting, we're doing exactly as we were doing, hunting people and killing them, so it's really just about giving them a fight, you know. So don't be too ragey on us, brah. Now, I would just say, just again coming back to our question about DPS, that there is probably quite a bit of number crunching that you have to do. This is an MMO, let's not forget that. I know a lot of people like to make it out that it's not. It is exactly an MMO, because it's all about stats, numbers, figures, etc. And grind. There's lots of grind. But so far, I wouldn't say the grind has been unpleasant. For example, doing the Dark Zone to level 50 has actually been quite enjoyable. I've quite enjoyed that. I'm quite sad it's over, in fact, because now there's no real reason to go any higher other than just prestige. So, yeah. Now, one of the things I would say is that in the Dark Zone, now that I've reached level 50, the Division Tech blueprint requirement gear, so if you know what I mean by that, so the middle vendors are selling things like, well, they're selling all interesting guns, etc. Now, they, I would say, are the ultimate end level stuff. So, you know, gold isn't end level, gold is kind of getting to end level. And then what these vendors are selling certainly is the end level. So, for example, stuff that needs Division Tech gold items, Division Tech gold level Division Tech to craft is actually something that I would consider to be the best mods in the game. And I'll give an example of this. So the Technical Center vendor sells, for example, things like strength or stamina, blueprints, backpacks, etc. And then so does the vendors in the Dark Zone. Now the reason the vendor Dark Zone blueprints are better is because they have the ability to have 3 mod slots, and they have just potentially to be better stats, which is I think incredibly useful, because in theory that is what gives you the chance to have the super tanks on. So let me give you an example. So for example, if you can actually craft a vest which has 3 mod slots on. Now if you then plug prototype gold gear into that can increase your firearms by effectively, I don't know, probably 450%, okay, or number all units. But what that actually translates to is that would actually upgrade your your damage output by another 500%, okay? Because your firearms number is just how much it boosts your gun's damage, okay? So that's pretty, if you go to your character stats, that's pretty much what it says. It will give you that number and then the total damage that you do, including your firearms, etc. So it's all pretty interesting. I think definitely it's probably worth just sitting down and really looking at what each thing does. Because, certainly the guns that I've got in the Dark Zone have been better than the general ones you get from the Tech Center. Having said that, I got the Navy MP5. And it was okay. I quite liked it, but when I compared it to the AUG, oh my god, the difference was unbelievable. The AUG is just an absolute dominating gun. I would probably suggest it's the best gun. I did run the numbers. I need somebody to tell me the stats on the Midas and some of the more kind of destructive vector ones. But from what I could work out, the AUG seems to be the one that kicks out the most damage in the kind of quickest amount of time. So for example, it's got 49 shots in the chamber, in the clip, and what that then does is effectively gives you, let me think about this, it gives you then the ability to empty your clip in about 3 seconds. So that means your rate of fire is about 1,000, so it's about 950, something like that. So in theory that becomes quite a good gun. But the difference is, and this is the single difference, is the standard damage of the MP5, Navy MP5, is 7,500. Maybe it's because I got a bad roll, I don't know. But when you roll the gun, make sure you get the highest weapon damage figure you can get. And I'll tell you why, because that's the number that's being multiplied. So that's your base number that's important, that is multiplied. And critical damage and all that is based upon that base number. So your weapon base damage is probably the most fundamentally important number there. Even sometimes it's better than the talents. So talents can be useful. So 25% additional headshot damage, 18% armor damage, all of this stuff is good. But if you've got like 1,000 points less because you rolled a shit roll, you're actually not going to get a very good gun. So I hope that's clear, because when I rolled the AUG, I was lucky and I think I got the higher number. So it was something like 85 to 97, something like that, you know, in terms of damage. And I got 95, so it was almost like upper level. And that base number is what you then multiply to get the you know, to get the basically the good number. So hopefully that's clear. That has been probably the number one thing that I've been doing, and I think certainly that has made life a lot easier. So I think definitely try that out, see how it goes, post in the comments, tell me if you agree, disagree, etc. Because these are just my observations to date. Okay, so it's nothing terribly groundbreaking, I'm sure, but it's literally just sat there. I know I did a real nerdy thing. I just sat there with a calculator and just sat there and worked it all out and with a pen and paper, and I just thought, you know, that can't be right, because you know, and the simple fact that our accuracy is there is a problem. So there we go. Now, one of the things as well that I would just say, it's almost as if you wanted to, you could say stability is not necessarily important as well. It kind of is, because if you're running an SMG or an assault rifle, stability means that you get more of your hits on target, obviously, but it depends how you're engaging, to be honest. If you know, on an SMG, for example, the optimal range on it is 20 meters. That's it, no more. You can get mods that increase that. So currently I've got a mod that I've plugged in which increases my SMG, my AUG, which I'm not running in this footage, but there we go. Increases my AUG to 30 meters. Therefore, I'm getting full damage up to 30 meters, and then it trails off. So the AUG is a bit more able to compete with the assault rifle. So for me, that's not a bad idea to do as well. It's rare, I think, in the dark zone in PvP that you engage someone at great distance. But having said that, I would also say that you're never, I guess you're mostly point blank, but there's obviously a few instances where, you know, you need to get the damage down at that kind of more mid-range, so definitely worth looking at that, because that could well be a bit of a challenge if you don't have the right, you know, the right kind of gun setup. So even if your gun is brilliant and it's fantastic, like the Vector is a great example of this, the optimal range on it is very low. So actually, even though on paper it looks a good gun, it is a good gun, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say it's not, but it does have issues when it comes to, you know, getting that damage down. So there we go. It's a funny one. I don't know really what anyone thinks about this. Post in the comments. I'm curious myself to know what people think. For me, I would say that the simple numbers aren't stacking up. Firstly, there's a bug with the numbers that don't necessarily show the correct numbers, if that makes sense. And I would also say that there's a bit of an issue generally. I think there's quite an issue, in fact, across the board, that some of the stats are not clear. Let me give you another example of this. Dark Zone XP boost is always 0 because there's no mods in the game that give you that Dark Zone XP boost, right? So that's fine, but then when you get to the Dark Zone and you want to level up quickly, you can use normal XP mods. So I ran a fit which had something like a 50% boost to XP kills. You know, the paper says that shouldn't work in the Dark Zone, but boy did it. So I was getting a kill value of something like 290 XP per kill. Very, you know, and that obviously adjusted throughout the Dark Zone. And colleagues were getting 170. So there you go. You know, I'm getting a third extra bonus on just running those kind of numbers. So I would suggest that you kind of have a bit of a play with it. I think use the shooting range. I don't know if you use the shooting range in the base. It's really good to kind of start understanding what's what. And I did this with the AUG. I did this with the assault rifle as well, just to figure out, you know, what's the stats, what's the numbers, how's it working, does it make sense, you know, and I think it made perfect sense. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.